It all began with a notebook my mother handed me. She told me she found it while cleaning out the closet. There we go. Sorry, I'm like trying desperately to clean my glasses. This old notebook, covered with mold, was a diary that belonged to my grandfather, who passed away years ago. It contained his distant memories. There we go. I'm still getting into character for this. I wonder if you still remember how we first met on our many adventures. It seemed like a dream. We ran like the wind during those warm summer days long ago. You were a piece of a star that fell from the sky, and I brought water to keep my throat lubricated. Important things today because voice acting kills my throat. I can still relive the memories of those days long past. Just by closing my eyes and whispering your name into the desolate night. I swear to God, kid, I swear to you, while I am thoroughly enjoying this game, don't get me wrong, I am loving this. This was such out of left ballpark for me, and it gives me the feeling of like those old Flash games that I used to play on the internet, like after school to some degree. The tone of this does not at all match Chrono Cross in any way, shape, or form. Literally none. Like not. It does not. Are you ready, kid? I know you're anxious, but stay on your toes. Likewise, mate. You mess up, and I'm leaving you behind. Got that, Sedge? I'm hoping by the end of this I'll have figured out Australian as an accent. So please forgive me as I butcher and attempt. But I would like some of the immersion. Come on, Miguel. Let's go. That bastard Lynx is gonna get what he deserves. Say your prayers. Not that it'll do you any good. Yeah, so, like, not even the characters. Like, I mean, I get that they're supposed to be older versions of themselves, but not even the characters look like themselves. Not even the world looks like itself. And again, while I don't particularly mind that, could we not make it a Chrono Cross game? Or, like, take the time to specify that this is another world? La Trésor Interdit. The Trésor Interdit. What the heck is... Hold on. I meant to do this last time, but... Trésor... Hold on. French to... Not French, like... Not like ranch. To English... Hold on, we're gonna get into this in a second. I want to know what Trésor means. T-R... I forget how to do E with the accent. Is it a forward accent or a back accent? Okay, back accent. Windows... Accent... Key commands. Forward E. Okay, control apostrophe. Got it. Okay. Ah! No. Okay. Okay, hold on. Control apostrophe E. What the heck? That's not... Control apostrophe E. I did that. I'm just gonna copy it. Okay, so Trésor. Treasure. There we go. Just Googled the accent letter and copy and pasted. Well, that's the thing, right? Like, for French class, I used to have a, okay. Just menu sound settings be important. But, oh, wait. Menu? Wait a second. Okay, so... Oop. Menu? Oh my god, there's save game options! Okay. Sorry, just let me have the moment. So first off, there was a, go to... Well, I mean, I guess we can save whenever now. There's no text read speed either, which is upsetting. Okay, we'll stick with the stereo. But yeah, no, there used to be like a text, or there was like a list of things that I had to know how to type to take French course in high school. And I don't think I have the paper anymore still. But like, you know, I'd like for the hotkeys to work instead of just having to copy and paste it. Anyway, at least now we know. The old lady's tip-off was right about the money. The counterspell on the barrier around the outer wall could've... Oh, no, right. Could've done a real number on us. Kid's plan, unadored... Okay. Plain unadored braids flickered back and forth across her shoulders as we walked. Now, I get it. But I just want to point out that the team that... They could have had a better team slightly working on the writing of this, and I don't mean, like... There's nothing wrong with it, but understand I'm a little picky as a person with a degree in English literature. And as a person who's, you know, helped copy edit a few books, who's been working on my own stuff, who's been going through the process of... And I would like to show this off for just like a brief hot second. This is 1, this is 2, and... Oh, look, where's 3? I have more downstairs, by the way. 3 copy editing books, all sitting at my desk right now, so that I can write a more effective short story. The thing that bothers me with this is, and this could have been done just by doing just one more draft of the script. The characters don't sound unique enough to each other. When I start off reading the sentence, I, at first, do not know who is talking. And that was something that I noticed the last time I attempted the first attempt of this game, is that I don't know who is speaking out of the gate. And that's something that they address in this book. And wait, do I have the other book down here? Hold on, I might. Oh, good. One of the books I lost. Okay, so in addition to the 3 I just showed you of the ones that I have been cross-referencing, I then found 2 more books on how to be a better writer. And in this one, which was by Angie Thomas, the person behind The Hate You Give and Eep and On the Come Up and all of those books, she has a really particularly good chapter about creating like very solid character voice that makes a lot of sense, and so does Timothy Hickinson. And I just wanted to point out that I have 5 books at my desk right now that just, I would like to point out, give some validity to what I just said about how in one more draft of passing, which would have been advice from this book, they could have fixed that problem. And I'm not trying to be a jerk about it. I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm sure that it was like probably a translator, but it makes it really difficult when you're doing a text-based game if you don't know who is speaking when it's speaking until later. And I just wanted to mention it. And I know that it probably had something to do with like the original, but you would have thought that between the original and the remake something could happen. Anyway, I'm done ranting about it, but there's 5 books at my desk. They give some validity to everything I just said. and at least 4 more downstairs. If anyone needs a book on how to copy edit, I've got you. If anyone ever needs writing advice, I'm here for you. Ask me questions in the Discord. It'll take me like an hour, but I'll get back to you. Anyway. We picked our way through the elaborate lattice of Manor's magic shields. Probably doesn't help that I can't read either. Moving in closer and closer to Lord Lynx's stronghold. There were 3 of us. Kid, Miguel, and me. Although I do really like the stills that they use for this. I guess it must have been 3 years already since I first met Kid. Back then, I was just a wandering musician, traveling wherever my feet would take me, wherever a few tunes would pay for a warm bed. Okay, so this is supposed to be Serge that's writing this. Why did they make Serge a musician? I didn't catch this the first time. I was too, overwhelmed by what I was seeing. And now that I'm, looking at the text here, why is Serge a musician? Serge isn't a musician in the, plain regular base game. So this is what I'm saying by, the events of this story seem very disjointed to me from, what actually is Chrono Cross. And so far they haven't explained it. I'm hoping by the end of it they explain where these two actually connect. But I don't think they will. It was in the outlands of a town called Rigoria, where we first ran across one another. Ever since she dragged me along on a whole bunch of adventures and misadventures too. Yeah, see, Rigoria doesn't exist in either game. In Chrono Cross or even in Chrono Trigger. So I'm not... Does anyone see my brain malfunction here? Because I love this game. Make no mistake. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Other than just making it about Kid in the Frozen Flame, I genuinely don't know what this has to do with Chrono Cross. And I'm hoping by the end they explain. Kid. She was a thief. And not just any thief. Just a few months shy of 17, and she was already renowned as one of the realm's greatest. That means that she was 14 when we went on our adventures, which checks, but wasn't Serge 12? Or was he also 14? How old was Serge when he got mauled by the Panther Demon? Because it was 10 years from the time that he got mauled by the Panther Demon to the time that Chrono Cross Adventures... Hey, I'm aware that it's live streaming time. Thank you, Watch. I do greatly appreciate you, though. But yeah, what's more, she was achievingly beautiful. Achingly, not achievingly. Achingly. Achingly beautiful, stylish, and a joy to be around. And dab hand at campside cooking, or so she liked to claim. The truth was a little different. Those bandits with hearts of gold that you heard about in stories, the one who steal from the rich and give to the poor, yeah, that wasn't Kid's style. Which is weird, because in Chrono Cross, that's exactly her style. So, she was short-tempered, prone to lying, bossy, and obsessed with money. And she did care to listen, and rarely did she care to listen to a single word anyone said to her. Okay, so if in her backstory for this one, the fire with Lynx and all of that still happen, the question is why? If fate is coming to prevent Kid from, causing a collapse or causing, fate to be discovered, and if in this world Serge didn't mix anything up, why would fate / Lynx interfere in this case? I'm hoping that they explain a lot by the end of this about how this properly connects with Cross, but I feel like this was just a text-based adventure that somebody else wrote that they were like, hey, let's just slap Chrono Cross on this to make money. Or to make more money, I should say, because otherwise this game's great on its own. Confusing, but I love it. And but she wasn't all that bad. Probably. Maybe. Sometimes. She had her moments anyway. I glanced over my shoulder to see a shadow hovering behind us, blending into the darkness like smoke. Miguel. Also known as Miguel the Shade. He was Kid's partner, but even after 3 years, I still hardly knew anything about him. All I knew was that he was around 30 years old and not much of a talker, but he was one heck of a mage. I heard that he and Kid had started working together before I met her. He always covered the top half of his face with a mask, and I'd never seen what he looked like underneath. The top half of his face? Because the drawing looks like it's the bottom half. It seems like Shadow Weaver's original with the bottom half, but if it's the top half, he's doing a Daredevil, but the picture doesn't reflect that. He was a man so mysterious that it sometimes seemed like he was an interloper from another world. It wasn't like Kid was exactly big on details about her past, but Miguel, he might as well not have had one. And Kid didn't seem to know much about her partner in crime either. What kind of man he was, what kind of life he'd lived before, nothing. You might ask how exactly I wound up being part of this merry band. Well, it's complicated. The weak writing crutch. I guess you could say that life doesn't always turn out the way you think it will. I bet someone thought that sounded really good when they wrote it down, and they did not go back through and edit the text. Kid, who was heading up our little raiding party, suddenly stopped dead. Look lively, boys. We got company. We glanced around warily as cold, cruel eyes emerged from the darkness. I heard a low growl, dark shadows prowling through the night surrounding us, a pack of wild cats. There must have been about 10 of them. A thrill of fear ran down my spine. Flustered, I pulled my knife from my belt. Kid calmly shifted into a fighting stance. Watch yourself. I don't reckon these buggers have ever been treated for rabies. The wildcats snarled and growled as they slowly closed in on us, drawing the noose tighter and tighter. See, that was good writing. Their eyes glinted in the darkness like fireflies, and strings of eager spittle dripping wetly to the ground. Then, one of them sent an almighty roar soaring into the moon, and the hunt was on. Okay, this time I'm going to do better. Attack. Slashed at the nearby wildcat with my knife. The beast tried to leap clear, but I was already too close. The blade... I felt the blade make contact and was rewarded with a screech of pain. The wildcat jumped away, this time managing to put some space between us. Looked like I hadn't cut it very deeply. I stood my ground, changing my grip on the knife and waiting for another chance to attack. Sedge, behind you! Panicked by Kid's warning, I whirled around wildly and came face to face with a pair of eyes blazing like hellfire. I attacked. The wildcat was coming right at me. By reflex, I ducked its attack, swiping through the air directly over my head. I felt its hot breath on my cheek as it flew past me. Oof. At the same time, I thrust my knife upward, plunging it into the beast's belly. With a horrible cry of agony, the wildcat crashed face first into the ground. Well, but I lost my balance in the chaos and fell into the heap as well. I rolled over, and I was only just able to stagger back to my feet before readying myself for the next opponent. I was breathing heavily. The handle of my knife was slick with sweat. I tightened my grip with a kick like a lightning bolt. Kid landed a clean hit on the flank of a nearby wildcat. It staggered before losing its footing, letting out a pathetic cry. But Kid had already moved in to finish it off. And then, the roar of fire. A burning smell filled my nostrils, and next to me, a shrill screech pierced the air. Miguel's fire spell engulfed the head of a nearby wildcat. It fled, darting off into the darkness like an arrow. Well, I didn't get hurt. I scanned the area. Only moments ago we had been surrounded, but now there wasn't a single wildcat left. Kid and Miguel had either sent the rest off with their tails between their legs, or put paid to them once and for all. Huh, you're dreaming if you ever think a pack of flea-bitten moggies is gonna stop us, Lynx. I'll get this one day. Kid crossed her arms and flashed a triumphant grin. Meanwhile, I was panting heavily, and it felt like my legs were about to give out from under me. I collapsed to my knees, overwhelmed by what I'd just been through. Phew! I'd taken a few hits. By what? But I was fine otherwise. A couple of scars to talk about later, maybe, but nothing that would stop me carrying on. Are you hurt? Miguel looked down at me, his face expressionless as ever. No worries, Mag. You'll be all right, said Kid, barging in to get a better look at me. He may be a whining sook, but it'll take more than a few scratches to kill this one. She was nothing if sympathetic. But she was right. This was no time to be bemoaning my lot. We hadn't even reached the manor yet. I dabbed up my wounds with a Tinniker's soaked cloth and wrapped them with bandages. Then, looked up at the other two. I'm sorry, I'm out. You'll have to carry me. 100%. I would be totally making that joke in real life. Like, oh man, guys, I'm sorry. I can't go on. You guys have to carry me on through to the other side, you know. And they'd be like, just shut the hell up and get up. We're just getting started. I grinned back, putting on a brave face. On things. Sorry, I want to pick up my blanket because I want the AC going for my electronics, but I'm cold. So anything I could do to fix that would be... That's what I like to hear, Kid cheerily announced from close quarters. Then her eyes turned cold, like the cool glow of the moon in the night sky. It's going to be a long night. I nodded, trying my hardest not to utterly lose myself in her pale blue eyes. God, dude, stop. Stop. She's not going to return the feelings yet. All right, let's get the show back on the road. She turned away and marched off deeper into the trees without looking behind to see if me and Miguel were following her. Miguel, of course, was already right behind her, his unhurried gait making it seem as though nothing much had happened at all. I jumped back up to my feet to chase after them. I'd be in even more trouble than I bargained for if I got separated from them. Well... Yay for my lipstick all over my shaker. The dark forest inside the manor's perimeter seemed to go on forever, a labyrinth of trees and boulders. The manor itself loomed in the distance, glowering over the vast grounds, and hidden within a veritable mountain of treasure just waiting for us. Lord Lynx was a noble who ruled the remote territory of Rigoria, who was also Kid's mortal enemy. We were there that night to steal a certain jewel that he kept locked away in his most closely guarded vault, the Frozen Flame. The Frozen Flame was veiled in mystery. It was said to be imbued with an uncanny energy and possessed of a beauty and clarity that made it a priceless treasure. Countless thieves had tried to steal it, and not one of them had come close to succeeding, nor had any of them escaped the manor alive. And now it was our turn to try. And now it was our turn to go die. No. And now it was our turn to try and sneak into this place of death. I'd call it a palace of death, personally, but I digress. Led by a girl who had the ambition to make the impossible possible. A hunger for vengeance that drove her onward. And a desire for riches that could never be satisfied. As we pressed through the trees, the tree-filled darkness, the shadows gave way at last, revealing the true extent of the vast mansion. Dun, dun, dun. It's still pretty. I can't see it because of the blinding lights all around so you guys can see my beautiful face, but it's still pretty from what I can tell. Heh. Finally, say your prayers, Lynx, because we're coming for you. Keeping the overgrowth and the shadows Keeping to the overgrowth in the shadows of the tree, we made our way around the manor walls in search of a means of entry. I'd be doing better if I had read this text ahead of time, just so we're clear. Eventually, we came to a terrace overlooking the garden. Yay! There was no sign of any guards nearby. The only thing surrounding the manor was an uncanny stillness. Okay, we got Miguel. This will lead us straight into the west wing. Just as well, we don't have any business in the rest of the manor tonight, said Miguel, gazing up at the dark building towering over us at the night. All right, then what are we waiting for? With that, Kid made to vault over the railing of the terrace. Stop! Miguel hissed sharply. Remember what we're here for. Our main target is the vault and the frozen flame within. We focus on this above all else. Your vengeance is of secondary concern. Agreed? Glancing over her shoulder, Kid replied with a reluctant, Yeah, don't get your knickers in a twist. But if we happen to run into him, I'm going to knock that Drongo's block off. Neither you nor anyone else is going to stop me. I guess Kid's was going to get her way whether we liked it or not. Let's go, boys. The night's young. She cleared the railing with a springly hop and vanished inside the manor. I glanced towards Miguel and nodded in silence. We followed Kid's lead. We were soon inside Lord Lynx's lair. And on that note, I'm saving it, because I trust nothing. I'm glad I can do that. The darkness swallowed us whole. Okay. By the way, I made a deal with my fiance where he would play Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross if I would play Dark Souls 2 and 3. But I'm going to make him start with Trigger. I just have to get the money together to buy him Chrono Trigger. And I have to get him to stop talking about Dark Souls. I have this thing, right? So I don't mind, like, obviously getting direction, especially if it's vague, if it doesn't tell me anything, if I don't get any kind of names or anything like that. Like, hey, you get this character, or hey, you'll get this character named Janice. Like, those are fine things. But then he's, like, giving me a play-by-play of literally everything he's doing in Dark Souls, and I'm like, you do realize that I picked 2 because 2 was the one that you didn't at all talk about, and I was excited for that. And now you keep talking about it constantly, and now I have no desire at all to play it because I want to experience the game for myself and not get the play-by-play from you, right? Like, tell me what you're telling me in the most vague terms possible. Like, hey, I got this spell, and it does this really cool thing where it seems to be chunking the enemy boss's health by, like, half when I first use it or something. Or I just got this enchantment on my sword that doubles the amount of damage I'm doing. Like, those ones where I can, like, be like, yeah, cool, great. But don't be like, yeah, I went down this corridor to the left and I got this pyromancy called, like, the Flames of Avalon, and then I equipped it, and then now but you'll never get it because you're not going to go that way. And it's like, how do you know where I'm going to go? Like, you don't know what I'm going to do. Let me play the game when I want to play the game. And the more that you talk about it, the longer now I have to wait to play the game because I need to get to a point where I've forgotten everything that you're telling me about the game. And I made, like, a light passing comment to him at one point in time when he was playing Doki Doki Literature Club to keep the game files open on his second monitor while he was playing. And that completely destroyed the entire experience for him, and then he threw a tantrum about it, and I was like, dude, give me the same courtesy. But anyway. Sorry, I had to talk about that because it bothers me. A corridor stretched off to the left and the right from the terrace. It seemed equally dark and chilly in both directions. Okay, if I remember right, to the left is supposed to be the, to the left, okay, hold on. I got a whiteboard out, so I'm gonna make a brief map. Hold on. Hold on. I don't know why I have that written, but I'm hoping it'll come to me later. Okay. Sorry, I just want to move over the last bit of notes that I have. Hey, I have enough recorded of that to get me through to my birthday. And that gets me 10 days before my birthday. Cool. Okay. So, this makes it easier on my brain if I just draw it out. So, if we came out of the terrace. So this is where we're starting. We have a corridor to the left and to the right. If I remember right, you'll come to a three-way intersection. And then we have the piano room. We have the study. And then we have some stairs. Yeep. Yeep. Sorry, this makes this a little easier on me. I'm just going to draw a tree for the terrace because that'll make that easier. I'm going to put C for clock room. Sorry, I want to like map this out as best as I can. I'll full screen it for you guys in a second just so I can figure this all out. Okay. Boom, and then it'll dead end at more stairs, which takes you up to the dungeon room. That is so sloppy, and it doesn't help that I think my expo is dying. I think I need to buy more. And so this will take you down. If you go on the left, you've got, I swear to God, come on, man. So we've got Riddell's room. And then we have at the end of the corridor, Lynx's room. And then if you go this way, you have, I'm just going to put head, or I'm going to put H/F. So F being the fountain, H being the head. So, hold on. I just want to close up my thing. All right, we're going to full screen it real quick. So, this is our map. There we go. So, we're currently at the tree. We want to go to, I think, the treasury first. So, we're going to start here. And then I can keep adding to the map as we go. But this is what we found out the last time that I played. This is the information that we got. So, I'm going to keep a map going while we're doing this to hopefully cut down on confusion and getting lost and any of that. So this way I don't have to keep a mental map going. We have thing. So that's the plan. So if we leave the terrace and we go to the left, we should come across the clock room first, and then we should come across the treasury. We won't be able to get into the treasury, but we should be able to kickstart some of the other stuff we need. So we go to the left. That's the plan. We pressed through the darkness, down corridors that turned and twisted snake-like this way and that. Everything around us was still and silent. It felt strange, like we were being watched, as if countless eyes were staring silently from the shadows, looking on with curiosity and pity. We continued creepily down the corridors. Kid moved proudly and stealthily, like a cat stalking its prey. While the shadows, Miguel followed, gliding swiftly like a sinister breeze. We pressed on through the weavers of fate. We took the corridor to the left, leading from the left-hand side of the terrace. Eventually, an intersection with some stairs. Wait a second. Wait a second. That doesn't make sense. So, when we went... So now it's on its head? I'm very confused. We'll turn back. Because that intersection, after a short walk in the corridor, the terrace came into view. We kept following down the corridor. Leading group as usual, kid stopped suddenly. What's that? She jabbed her finger at something in the darkness. Straining my eyes, I could see a pale white bundle of something shaking in the shadows. Oh, that's strange. I moved in front of Kid to get a better look. So clearly we can throw the whole map I just made out the window, but at least it's on its head, I guess? Okay. So we're just gonna redraw the tree. Okay. I'll figure that out in a second. Then suddenly the strange presence started crawling across the floor towards us at an unbelievable speed. I didn't have time to brace myself. The white figure reached my foot and reared up to its full height. Skeleton! No, I like the head. It's okay. I like these things. The skeleton and I stood face to face, its empty eye socket staring at me, seeming to at least. Tackle it! I charged in and tackled the skeleton. Yeah! There was a crunching sound as the clatter of bones as the skeleton was knocked backwards by the blow. Its body split clean in two at the waist. Better luck next time, muttered Kid dryly. As if in response, the skeleton's upper body picked itself up from the ground, turning its skull towards me, balancing its body with its left hand, and then pulled the skull from its head with its right. What's it do? Before I could get a word out, it heaved its skull right at me. Catch it! Flip! I caught it with both hands, and smashed it into the floor. I slammed the skull into the ground, smashed into pieces with a satisfying crunch. As soon as it had, the skeleton's torso collapsed into a lifeless heap. Yeah. Won't be troubling us anymore. Time to move on. Hey! Phew! I'd taken a few knocks, but I was alright. A scrape or two wouldn't stop me. Maybe you ain't such a drongo after all. Just goes to show any old weirdo can make something of themselves if they put their mind to it. When did I get hit? Kid's eye glinted with mischief. Okay, long way of the corridor, running on the right-hand side of the terrace, we found an ancient-looking door. Okay, so I was right. It does flip. Okay, I just drew my terrace on the wrong side, so I was right. Hold on. Yeah, so I just drew my terrace on the wrong side. Instead of being here, it's here. That's all. Same sides. Because this is on the right-hand side after you leave the terrace. And then... Or actually... Let me do this. Yep. No, that was right. Well, let me at least draw it correctly, I guess. Come on. Can my pen just stop dying for like a hot second, please? This is gonna be the most... There we go. Hey! We got it. Okay. Sorry, I think having this map's gonna be the only thing that's gonna save me at the end of the day is figuring out this stupid thing ahead of time. Okay, So let's go ahead and save. Okay, short way along the on an ancient-looking door on the right-hand side. Do not go into it. Kid pressed her ear against it, listening for any signs of life. Dead quiet. Don't reckon there's anyone in there. I'm going to save this because it has a heal all in it, and I think we're going to need it. Yeah, better see what's at the end of the corridor first. Oh, yeah. Better see what's at the end of the corridor first. Kid left the door alone and continued on down the corridor. Okay, so I do want to point out, before I continue on, because this issue of not telling who's speaking is kind of going to bother me. It doesn't have to be making her accent part of everything. All you would have to do is just change the word choice. That's it. You can say the same things. If one of them specifically referred to this corridor as only a corridor and the other one referred to it as a hall and somebody else referred to it as passageway or something. If you had done that so that we could have subconscious clues that kept reminding us who's speaking, that would help so much. But her voice also isn't that much different than the narrator's either. None of them says. And it only would have taken one more pass through with the draft. I'm gonna write a text-based video game or a choose-your-own-adventure video game like this. And we're gonna just see what happens with this. Because I argue I could probably do a lot more. I just have to figure out how to draw. Because I'd rather do all the thing myself, so. Anyway. We returned to creeping down the darkened hallway as silently as we could. Okay, so we should come up to it. Yeah. Continuing down the corridor, we came across a rather sturdy-looking door on our left. This should be it. A little further on stood a stairway leading upward. Well, this door is clearly meant to keep something safe. If there ain't some kind of treasure behind it, me name ain't Kid. Okay, with the exception of the me name ain't, but if she at least even had, see how I could tell right before we knew? Right before that last part, I could have told you that this was Kid because of the ain't and the something. And if we just had more of those sprinkled regularly throughout her regular dialogue, we would always tell it's her. Yep. That's the smell of cold hard cash, right? She muttered to herself as she began to inspect the door more closely. Go inside. Oh, what am I? Stupid? Of course it's bloody locked. Kid had tried the door handle a few times before giving a grumpy kick. Bloody door's got a magic barrier on it. And the bloody barrier's got a barrier of its own to boot. It'll take more than me putting, there we go, my boot in it to get through all that. I think I just had a moment while I was trying to, oh yeah, I'm not in combat, I can raise the volume again. I see. Unless we find the key, we don't have hopes of getting inside. I reckon I can handle the key hunt, especially if that idiot Lynx who's hidden it. We can find it in his room. I'll sniff it out in 2 seconds flat, just you watch. There's a little more else we could do here, so we decided to look elsewhere. Let's go back towards the terrace now. We continued down the corridor and eventually coming across the door on our left. The corridor continued on backwards towards the terrace. Continued on. After a short walk down the corridor, the terrace came into view. We kept going through the corridor. Suddenly, the darkness felt opaque. Something like a thick haze floated through the air in front of us. And then it took form, like someone blowing smoke into a person-shaped bottle. It was robed in a ragged shroud. Its sunken eyes glinted menacingly. It was the burning hatred that lingers even after death has given form. A being driven by hatred for all living things. A ghost. Bugger. That's us out. Kid bit her lip. There wasn't anything she or I could do to deal with an enemy that had no physical body. A voice boomed out behind me. Miguel had begun to cast a spell. I jumped behind Miguel. Miguel glanced at me, continuing his incantation. Without missing a beat, he then grabbed me by the scruff of my neck and threw me at the ghost. Ah! I emitted a strangled scream of horror that I'd probably never be able to repeat again, and tried to brace myself before I crashed face first into the wall. But the impact I was expecting never came. The core of the ghost, where its face seemed to be, had more substance than the rest of it, and I didn't just slip through like I thought I would. I oozed through it like I was stuck in some kind of a goo. Yeah. Gods, it was disgusting. More disgusting than anything I'd ever known. And it was impossibly cold. It felt like draining all the heat right out of my body. Like it was draining my life force itself, in fact. I struggled to break free, but I could find no purchase in the gooey ectoplasm. The coldness became more and more intense, and soon I didn't even know what cold meant anymore. This could be it for me, I thought. I was consumed by despair. And then there was a surge of heat through the muscles of my neck, in the place where Miguel had grabbed me just a moment before. And at the same time his incantation echoed in my mind, and my vision was filled with a clear blue light. Boom. Sedge! Oi, Sedge, she's still with us, mate. Someone was slapping me around the face. Someone who seemed to be enjoying it immensely. Kid, stop it! Damn you! I leapt to my feet, wide awake again in an instant. Mag, did you really have to use me like that? When dealing with foes who attack the mind, it is simplest to lure them in with bait, and then use their intended prey's consciousness as a conduit in order to make an assault from an astral plane. A direct magical attack would have meant a lengthy battle, and a far less elegant solution, he replied, without a trace of guilt. I mean, I'd have done it. All right, let's keep moving. Kid gave the order to continue, seemingly completely oblivious to my brush with death. Well, yeah. Phew, I'd taken a few knocks, but I was alright. A scrape or two wouldn't stop me. Okay, so I didn't take actually any damage in those two. Maybe I ain't such a drongo after all. Just goes to show any old weirdo can make something of themselves if they put the mind to it. Kid's eyes glinted with mischief.